Hi, folks. Welcome back to Pop Up Fizzle. I'm Jeff.
I'm Heidi.
And we're here for our spoiler discussion for a little independent film called Mission Impossible Fallout. You may have heard of it.
Yeah.
They've done a little bit of advertising.
A little bit.
I remember, I think, seeing a little bit of a teaser trailer at some point.
Yeah, maybe a clip
it's
on...
really under the radar.
Yeah, like a clip on a late night show, maybe.
Right.
Yeah, just little bits and pieces out there.
Yeah, it stars Rebecca Ferguson.
Mm-hmm.
It also has
Ving Rhames.
Ving Rhames, yeah, and Simon Pegg.
Mm-hmm.
There's also that
young up-and-comer.
Henry Cavill.
Right.
Right. And then the not-so-young up-and-comer, Tom Cruise. we're kidding, of course. Mission Impossible Fallout's been everywhere. They have advertised the heck out of this movie. Mm-hmm. It really was in production for a long time, partially due to Tom Cruise's injury.
Yeah.
But, so it's a long time coming for this.
Yes.
We went to see it tonight. It's my second time seeing it. Heidi's first time seeing it.
Yes.
We know it's been out for a week, so we figured it was safe to do a spoiler discussion. We also have a non-spoiler review. So if you have not seen the movie yet, please stop this video right here. Go down to the description. You'll find the link for our non-spoiler review, and you can watch that and then come back to this one after you've seen the movie. Okay?
Yep.
So that's the only spoiler warning you're going to get, and we're going to start talking spoilers in 5, 4, 3, 2...
Okay.
Yeah. So, I was very excited when I went to see this movie because I felt like after the trailers, which we got really tired of seeing.
Same ones.
Same one over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm. In front of every single movie.
Pretty much.
But, I mean, I get that the studios were banking on this having really wide appeal.
Sure.
So, put it everywhere.
Yeah, and you jokingly said, what if they show the trailer before the movie?
Yeah.
And I said that would be hilarious,
for one
thing.
That would have been awesome, but they did not do that. You missed out, studios, on a chuckle from two chuckleheads down in Texas.
That's right, a double chuckle.
Chuckle.
Better than a double pop any day. No, I was excited because having seen the trailers and kind of knowing the background of the movie and Tom Cruise's injury and just how much effort went into making this film, I was super excited to finally see it. Mm-hmm. And this franchise is one of the few that I can think of where each installment's better than the last.
Yeah.
Now, you can say what you want to about Mission Impossible 2, which was a John Woo film. You probably didn't see it.
No, I was like,
Right.
I could say what I wanted because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, so there are some naysayers about that film. And it doesn't hold up as well, I think, as the other films. However, I think it was instrumental in keeping people on board that franchise and giving them a more action-focused, toning down the spy just a little bit and ramping up the action. And now what we have, because of that, is a nice blending of those
Good balance.
feelings. So, yeah. So, and then all the movies after that have gotten better as time progressed. So that made me excited to see this, and I was really pleased to find that I enjoyed this thoroughly. I think I enjoyed it more than the last one.
Okay, that's good.
And I know that you don't have the kind of history with the franchise, but
really
I do know that you are a James Bond fan. You enjoy spy films,
spy,
and
action, thriller sort of things. Yeah, absolutely.
And political intrigue and all these things.
Yes.
And so that all these things kind of come into play in the Mission Impossible world.
So
as well.
that's not any, definitely nothing you have to drag me out to see. So,
right.
I enjoyed all of it. I never felt like there was any point in time where the pacing was ramped down. There was no what are they doing now?
Yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of dialogue, exposition dumps, or that kind of thing. Everything was pretty fast paced.
It was within the scope of the franchise too. So we did get an info dump right at the beginning, but it's your mission if you should choose to accept it.
Right, that's less. I mean, we can call that an info dump because of course it is, but it's also part and parcel of the Mission Impossible franchise, going back to the television show.
Yes.
That was how every television show, they got their mission from something that exploded or burned or whatever. and it was the exposition dump for the
that episode.
Yeah,
so,
and so
within the scope of the franchise,
right? But nothing after that. I mean,
No.
even when they needed to give us information, like when they were boarding the plane and they had 2 hours to do, I mean, that was all said conversationally as they're boarding the plane, and then done, and then boom, we're there.
Yeah, but it's one character giving information to the other character,
right?
Which he needed. So
which he
again,
needed for the mission. Yeah, so not what you run into with some movies where it's like, this is a really awkward conversation that only serves to give us information that we need for the story.
Quick, you play dumb while we tell the audience what's going on.
So it was very well handled,
Yes.
I felt like, whenever they needed to give us those sorts of bits of information. Let's talk, since we're having a spoiler discussion, let's talk about the turn.
Okay. So Jeff did go see this before I did, and he didn't spoil me on it, but he did tell me that there was a scene where there was a turn of one of the characters, and Henry Cavill's character. I didn't know it at the time, but I picked it out.
I didn't tell you it was Henry Cavill's character.
No.
I just told you that one character
Yeah.
had a turn that I wish they wouldn't have revealed as early as
Right,
they did.
and the thing is, so I knew something was coming,
Right.
but as soon as it happened, I was like, oh, there it was. And yeah, I have to agree that the turn that they had Henry Cavill's character make, as far as being the one that was orchestrating everything and making it
Lark.
Yeah, that he was Lark, and that he was setting everything up to frame Hunt. I don't feel like it necessarily needed to be there, but I think if they had, like, it could have been introduced where he turned in front of the whole group. But I think for many audiences, it may have seemed like it was out of left field. Like, where's this coming from? So kind of like at least putting it out there and saying, showing you that he is that guy, and then like seeing him how, like, you can reflect enough time to see where he was at the beginning of when his character was introduced, and then see him working with that group, knowing that he was that. So you're kind of in the movie, puts you in on that inside. Right. So I didn't hate it completely, but it was like, you didn't necessarily need to be there.
There was enough given, I feel like, that they could have waited for that, because we knew early on when we first meet his character that he's a little bit on the outs with his CIA boss. And when Ethan says, "Oh, I know about you. You've been killing off people that know about this," so like we would have had somebody to question
if you hadn't
been killing them off. And he's like, "Don't question I do." So we already had a little bit of a reason to suspect him.
Yeah, we could have suspected it, but it may not have been enough.
I would have liked to have seen. Now this is just the writer in me, but I would have liked to have seen the conversation happen between Henry Cavill and his boss, but not the phone. Not the phone having happened, but her saying, "If you have proof, I want to see it," blah, blah, blah. And he's, and he could have said something like, "I'll do what I can, but you need to keep digging," or whatever. And then we wouldn't have known who did what. So we wouldn't have had that phone exchange, because as soon as we see the phone we knew was destroyed in the bathroom, as soon as we see that, we're like, okay, so he's up to something.
Yeah.
So we're totally on to him at that point.
And
we were on to him a little bit anyway, and they gave us enough in that conversation that I think we would have suspected him.
Right.
So they didn't need to give it to us. And then later, when they have the confrontation, when Alec Baldwin's there and says she was given this file and blah, blah, blah,
but I think
they still could have fooled him by saying they didn't know where the file came from. And then after they snagged him and after they tricked him with...
the face mask and
right.
Benji.
Yeah, that... what was his name?
Benji.
Yeah. After they tricked him with Benji, then they could have said, "We were on to you as soon as she turned this phone over to us as evidence." You know what I'm saying? They could have revealed the phone then.
Yeah, I think so.
She said, "You sent this to her, blah, blah, blah," and then it could have been...
But I think that's one thing that could have happened, but like I can see, because she knew what kind of mess had to be cleaned up in that bathroom. Right. So him handing her a pristine phone
probably made her suspicious.
Right.
But we didn't get that in the movie, though.
We didn't get that in the movie. And I feel like that would have been a little bit of a nicer touch.
I did like Angela Bassett in that role.
Yeah.
And I felt like...
she's good with it.
Yeah, I felt like, she's one of those people where, like, if she was your boss, you'd want to make sure she was happy with your performance. Like, I would not want to face her after I failed something.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I like that, and I like her dynamic, and I really feel like they're setting her up to be Alec Baldwin's replacement. And so I like that. I like that little bit, just a little bit of a setup there. Now, if they play it off or not, who knows? But I like the setup. Anyway.
Right, and we were having a conversation in the car, like, are we going to see another Mission Impossible movie after this? So they've left it open. So she could be the boss.
Sure.
They all live.
And Tom Cruise is only 97, I think.
So we were also talking about that, after he went to go see it the first time, he's like, for Tom Cruise's age, he's finally starting to show that he's getting older. And I was like...
Which means that instead of looking 30, he looks 40.
Yeah, I was going to say, we know he is 57 years old. He is 57 years old. Because I had looked it up when we found out that he had actually...
He doesn't look 57.
No, he doesn't. When he broke his ankle doing the jumping from building to building thing. But I was going to say... All the up close things. I know they can do wonders with magic and with magic.
It's not that kind of movie, dear.
Magic. Okay, with makeup and movie magic is what I meant to say.
I gotcha.
So they can do wonders with that. But you could see his face was older, but it wasn't like decrepit.
Right.
So he's looking
He was still believable. He's a guy that keeps himself in good shape, and is his running, like watching him run. I know that was him. I know he was full on running, and he's a beast. I mean, he really is. So good on him.
And then I also said that he must have a clause in every contract that he signs for his movies that he must run and ride a motorcycle.
Yes.
So every single one, he is running and riding a motorcycle. And then there may be like a selection of other things that he may do, such as rock climbing. Such as flying a helicopter.
Sure.
Such as possibly flying an airplane. Has he done that? I don't remember.
I'm sure he has.
Stunt driving. There's just so all of those things. Those two things contractually obligated. All the rest is just a selection. Just choose your own adventure.
Yeah, he definitely. I think it's in his clause. Must come close to death at least twice during the filming of this
at least
movie, and that's fine. He has fun doing that stuff. Good on him. I felt like the set pieces in this, and I said this in our non-spoiler review, I felt like they deserve the big screen treatment. Because absolutely. I think some of them will be lessened seeing them on the small screen. Yeah, some of the details that you would absolutely cannot miss on a big screen might be like, what's the big deal on a small screen? But I really like that the relationship that they had started 3-4 movies ago with his wife, actually in the third film, this is the 6th film. So we've had, we understand sort of their history. If you've seen the films, you do. But even you going in and not seeing it, like, you got it. You heard a little bit about her. You heard a little bit about that relationship, and then you were in. You got it. And that really well. And that contrasted with his relationship with Ilsa and them both being from the same world, but still his need to protect and to safeguard. And all of that was good. The scene I had mentioned to you before you saw the film was that there was a scene between Ilsa and the wife that was silent. You just saw Ilsa whisper something to her, and she touched her arm or something, and then leaned in and said something. We didn't get what that was, but I thought it was nicely handled because you saw that Ilsa respected him and his decision, but also respected her. She said, "I like her" when she was helping defuse the bomb. All of that I thought was really solid because it said a lot about those women without needing to play out a big scene. Yeah, no need for any of the stuff that would drag the movie down. Yeah, Michelle Monaghan as Julia coming back to that role, much smaller part, of course, here than she had in the third film, and we've seen her a time or two in bits and pieces over the other films. But yeah, so seeing her here and just her having that moment with Luther. That was kind of her main moment, and I thought it worked so well. She got the little moment with Ethan, but then that moment with Luther where, these were the people that protected her. These were the people that came to her rescue. And she doesn't really understand the world, but she trusts them, and she cares enough to step in. He needed an extra set of hands, and she became the extra set of hands. And she, and so I liked that part for her. I thought she was great in that. Simon Pegg's always fun. Yeah, lots of fun. There were moments of comedy that they did not veer off into this is taking me out of the movie.
Yeah, or this is too silly. None
right,
of that.
the whole thing with the iPad not being on, being in 2D instead of 3D.
That was a little silly.
Or whatever. That was a little silly, but that was a common thing. I mean, anybody could do that.
Yeah.
And so that's why it didn't take me out. Like,
no.
You're in life and death situation, and you're you're trying to play catch up and get him from point A to point B. Missing something like that would not be unheard of.
No.
Especially for somebody who's new to field work like Simon Pegg.
Yes,
I mean, he
exactly.
was support before. So
yeah.
So all of that, Ving Rhames is always charming.
Yeah,
so I like
him. Solid, very solid.
And Alec Baldwin was good in this. I'm not a big Alec Baldwin fan. He's been serviceable in all these, but I liked him here. And even as he was
dying.
Well, that I wasn't going there, but even as he was seemingly coming down on Hunt for the misinformation, he was selling it. But there was also a note of, I don't know whether this is true about you. I don't want to believe that it's true about you, but my obligation is to save the team and not you. And that was believable to me.
Yeah,
somebody in his position would do that.
Yeah, I could. That was him. That was.
And I think that's why that line came back from Angela Bassett at the end. It's good that you can focus on the one line instead of the many, so that I don't have to. Because I can't think in those terms.
Right.
But you're on the ground and you can. And I feel like that's a solid point and a kind of a cool.
Yeah, nice little comeback.
Thing to come back around to.
So, well written in that fashion as well.
Yeah, and I thought all of this was just handled really well. Like we said, it didn't drag. There were no real slow bits or anything.
How long was this movie?
Oh gosh, I don't even remember.
At least over 2 hours, right?
Yeah, it's like maybe 2:15 or something like that.
Yeah, so it was solid all the way through. There was never any point where I was like, let's go to the other part of the action. Nothing like that. It was always good stuff happening. Always like literal cliffhanger with them hanging off of the cliff with the helicopters, helicopter bits and pieces, and that was just brilliant. But another piece of writing that struck me was when what's her name, the White Widow, Kirby something or other, she meets Ethan and he's posing as Lark, and she says, "Oh, I thought you'd be uglier." And then at the end, when Henry Cavill's character gets hit by all the battery acid, he was ugly.
Right. So there was a nice
little callback there too. Yeah. So I thought that was a nice little. So well done for the writers of this, making sure that it was as tight as it was, but still as action packed. So I fully enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I thought it was a solid, solid go. These things can lose their way so easily.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Not just because of the action stuff, but just story wise, they can lose their way. And it was pretty simple. It was, we've got a guy, the bad guys want him back. We can't let them have him.
But we need these other things too.
Right, and so it was like a little bit of a shell game, and so I like that. And I was going to say, as far as set pieces go, there's a lot of great set pieces in this, big action things. However, my favorite bit, I think, like if I could just go back and watch one scene several times over, was that bathroom fight. I mean, that bathroom fight was brutal.
Oh my gosh, yeah, that was really good. I'll have to tell you, I did miss the music cues in it from the trailer, so I was like, it's still pretty cool, but it's like I would love.
Didn't have that Imagine Dragons background.
Yeah, I would have loved to have that, in the background, but it wouldn't have made any sense. It was actually more brutal because there was nothing but the sounds of the fight.
One thing I really liked about that though, and I told you when we saw the trailer, or one of the many times we saw the trailer, was that the way that they're editing it, they're making it seem like Henry Cavill's the bad guy. However, you can tell when they're in that bathroom scene that they're fighting somebody together. So maybe him being the bad guy is the mislead, but that was like a double mislead. So they start off making you think, he's a jerk, but he's going to end up being on their side. And then he does make the turn, and which again, I think they revealed a little bit too early, but that's okay.
That's okay. I think that would be like the one little nitpick that we have with this particular, with this movie. It was fully enjoyable, but that was maybe a little too early or maybe just too obvious.
And I want to say, going back to Henry Cavill for a minute, I'm not sold on Henry Cavill as Superman. But I really like Henry Cavill. Like the other things that I've seen him in where he's not playing Superman, I very much like him.
Yeah.
I liked him in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. I liked him in this. I liked him in other things, but
Strong
it's just for
mustache game.
yeah, strong mustache game. But as Superman, I feel like, and it may just be that Christopher Reeve spoiled us for the sort of Superman that I feel like we get from the comics, which is a beacon of hope, and we don't really get that from. And I don't think that's Henry Cavill's fault. I think that's the fault of the writing. I think he could very well give us that. But on that scale, I think even Brandon Routh gave us a little bit more hope in that role. Even though that was kind of a dismal movie, I feel like he did a great job of reminding us of who Superman is supposed to be.
Yeah.
I think Henry Cavill's been saddled with some bad writing, and I hate that because he's a really good actor.
Yeah, I think. You know what the thing about Superman is that, you know, he is a hero and a good guy, but a good boy too.
Right.
And I don't, the way they've written it for Henry Cavill, it doesn't seem that way. So I feel like he's better at these characters.
Yeah.
So
I feel like, you know, but I do feel like if they wrote it well, that he could pull it off. I don't think it's his acting. I think it's the writing.
We're looking at you, top executive, unknown executive at Warner Brothers Entertainment, who is putting the kibosh on real creativity.
Give Henry Cavill a Superman movie that's worthy of his talent, and let him shine.
And stop railroading all the things. Just stop it. You see what Marvel's doing, and you want to do it too. Then get out of the kitchen.
Oh, you're gonna have some.
No.
Some angry fanboys.
No. I want to love the DC universe or extended universe and all that. And I've enjoyed the movies. But you can tell that somebody up top has their fingers in the pot all the time. And they're not making it easy for the creativity.
Let creative people create.
Let them do their jobs.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's
our little mini Superman rant in the middle of our Mission Impossible.
But the thing is, we enjoy Henry Cavill, and we would love to see him be better as Superman if you could get your finger out of the pot.
Yeah. And I think that was, I think this is kind of where this franchise does really well, in that, they know what works, and they have figured out sort of
a good formula.
Not only a good chemistry between characters, but a good formula. They are staying out of Tom Cruise's way and letting him do crazy stuff, which is fine.
Which is what he wants to be doing.
Exactly. And so, and I said to you on the way home, and you were like, oh my, that I really feel like this is the spy franchise to be. Like, I love a good James Bond movie, but I feel like for the last, 6-7 years, Mission Impossible is the spy franchise to beat. I don't feel that, as much as I like him as an actor, I don't feel like Daniel Craig is as invested in that series, and so I'm not as into.
And the thing is, we can't even point to him being a little long in the tooth for that, because Tom Cruise is older.
Yeah.
He's shorter.
Yeah, but
he's older.
Right. Not sure what those have to do with one another.
Nothing.
But yeah, so I definitely want to see this franchise continue. If they, if Tom Cruise has got a few more bumps and bruises
if he can do just one more, even just to kind of wrap it up, if that's what they want to do.
Yeah.
So we would be happy to see another Mission Impossible movie.
Absolutely,
sure.
And I really like what they've done with, with the female characters in this, because like Ilsa as a character, I mean, she kicks butt. Like she's not
damsel in
a
distress.
Slouch. She's not
No
somebody
damsels.
that's like B team. When it comes to that stuff, like she
did her stuff.
Yeah, Benji would have been dead.
A few times.
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah.
Well, they all would have if she hadn't stepped in a time or two in this film.
So she was definitely.
And she was really the standout of the last film too. It was like, wow, she was an excellent addition to this franchise, and so I'm glad they brought her back for that. Yeah, she didn't sing in this one.
No.
She didn't sing in the last one either.
Okay.
She did in The Greatest Showman.
Cool.
She didn't hurt anybody though.
No.
She didn't shoot anybody either.
No.
I'm just saying.
I see that.
We're a little strange, folks. You gotta forgive us. Anyway, those are our spoiler thoughts on this one. Did you have anything else to add?
No, this is good.
Yeah. So we enjoyed it. It was well worth sitting through 8,000 versions of this trailer to see it.
Yeah.
Finally, in its fullness. So we both had a good time.
Yeah.
We enjoyed the popcorn and the movie and
Yes.
the sodas and the great experience. If you saw the movie, I'm assuming you did, or you wouldn't be watching this spoiler review. Jump down to the comments. Let us know what you thought about the movie. Did you like it as well as the last one? Are you a fan of the franchise or not so much? Give us your comments down there. And if you like this video,
Hit that thumbs up.
and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. What are you waiting on?
Yeah.
We love having you aboard, and we're a teeny tiny little channel, so every little person that comes aboard counts. So we appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And if you're already subscribed, just hit that little bell icon, and then you'll be notified the next time we do one of these things. Right?
All right.
Until next time, folks.
Bye.
Bye.